Hey everyone, this is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row. Thanks so much for listening to the following broadcast, courtesy of Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Everybody, it's No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I'm sitting here with a freshly popped LaCroix, ready to do the things. However, I think the show might be a little bit short, or on the shorter side, because I had a music video that I produced drop on Reverie this morning, and then it's making its way over to Pluto TV, and like pushing that all out into the world has been like piles and piles and piles of work to do. So I've been sitting in this hard chair in front of this screen for all day, like basically since yesterday, essentially. Like I haven't been wearing deodorant. I've just been stuck to this chair. So that's what I've been doing. I'm going to take a second to share the show because that's how we do things around here. So if you're around, also share the show because sharing is caring, and that's how we're supposed to do things. Who is this? Okay. Let me get up in here. Okay, so I can see that 2 people came in, but I can't, I can just see the number. I don't know who you are. So drop a comment, yo. Announce your presence so I know who you are. All right, there we go. Oh, 3 people. Oh, wonderful. We're filling up. Right post. Hollywood is quiet. No trap phone. No. ... Too quiet. Post. Okay, so show is shared on my end anyway. Hopefully it's shared on your end as well. Any hoozles. My ear is too slippery. My earbud keeps trying to jump out of it. So anyway, I feel like it's been a little too quiet in the Hollywood, like traditional media wise. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, the hashtag #MeToo battle still rages on social media, mostly on Twitter because Twitter's for rage. That's what it's for, obviously. Them's just the breaks. So I've been perusing around and looking at who's chatting about what. Apparently the woman that started Me Too France has been caught up in some sort of a defamation lawsuit, but European libel, slander, defamation is a lot different. So I'm not exactly sure how to translate that. They didn't cover that in high school French. But I thought it was interesting. And if you see, go perusing on Twitter. It's kind of interesting. Apparently some guy made some public defamatory statements about her. And then was like, oh yeah, I was just, none of that's true. But I apologize, so it's okay. So I guess they're now in some crazy lawsuit or whatever, or however crazy French lawsuits are. I can imagine a lot of smoking and yelling, and maybe a drink or two. But I don't know how fierce the French are in a courtroom. But that's besides the point. Animals, that is enough. This is what I have to do. Hey, knock it off, you weirdos. Rotten. Positively rotten. Anyway, so that's been happening. But I feel like on the media front, like it's been a little bit too quiet for my liking. Like obviously like last week was explosive with the Kevin Spacey situation, but it is entirely for like a movement that has taken over not only this town and this industry, but like basically the world, or the English-speaking world anyway, or not even the English-speaking world, like the Western world for the most part. Although there's hashtag, there's Me Too India as well, so that's not really, and Korea, so also in Asia. Me Too East to West, or West to East, I'm not really sure which one it is. But I feel like it's been a little bit quiet. I wonder why that is. I would imagine that we're probably going to get some huge breaking news next week. That's kind of my personal prediction. But there's been this situation where, like, I don't know if you saw this or not, but there's a problem with, like, Aaron Carter, Nick Carter's, like, family. Apparently they're molesting everybody over there. Like, it really is a true, like, hide your kids, hide your wife, they're molesting everybody situation. Like, they could the Carter family in general could probably use an Anton Dotson. I feel like they should be on call. That should be the service that he, like, gives to the world, where he's like, hey, you got sex crimes, they raping everybody, they molesting anybody, I'll come announce it for you. That's what I'll do. That's what I think you should do for a living. I think you could make, considering the amount of sex crimes and molestation going on, I think he'd be making a solid living. So let us have a chat about this little situation between the Carters and Perez Hilton, if you remember him. You know, like, let's have a... Okay, so apparently the French lady lost the defamation case, but she launched one against this guy that was making lewd comments about her anyway. So let's look into this. So this is an interesting little tweet here. This is from Melissa Schumann. At Perez Hilton, you've been nothing short of terrible to Aaron Carter, myself, and the two other survivors who went to the police about being sexually assaulted by Nick Carter. Now that Paris Hilton liked our tweets, you'll listen? ? Get your head out of Warren and Nick's. Hashtag cover up, hashtag me too. Because Perez Hilton tweeted this. Animals, not today, not today. Hush your mouths. Do you see what I deal with around here? It's crazy. Okay, so this is from Perez Hilton on the 25th, so just a couple days ago, and it only has 4 retweets. How crazy. I'm telling you, Perez Hilton's on a decline. Okay, Paris Hilton liked one of Aaron Carter's tweets alleging Nick Carter abused her during their relationship. Damn. So that's like, to quote Paris Hilton, that's huge. So, according to the Perez Hilton website, did Paris Hilton just subtly confirm Aaron Carter's abuse allegations against Nick Carter? As we've been reporting, the I Want Candy singer has been publicly blasting his Backstreet Boys brother on social media. I didn't know that he was in the Backstreet Boys because I'm a bad millennial and I'm not into boy bands. Oh, crazy. Accusing a 39-year-old of extreme bullying, physical abuse, and raping several women over the years. In addition to being a vocal supporter of Nick's sexual assault accusers, including Dream member Melissa Schumann, and that's whose tweet we just read, and a woman named Ashley Repp, Aaron has repeatedly reminded his fans older bro was also accused of beating hotel heiress Paris Hilton when the two dated from 2003 to 2004. I mean, y'all remember how, that is the one thing I do remember that I was abreast to, was how wild the early aughts were. Oh, good times, like before Lehman Shock. In response to the restraining order Nick was granted against him, the 31-year-old tweeted last week, anybody who knows me knows I wouldn't hurt a fly. I've never been accused of rape. I've never been accused of beating Paris Hilton. How am I the violent one? If you feel the need to say it, you're probably feeling guilty. Many critics took to Paris' allegations with a grain of salt, seeing as it came amid seemingly unhinged strings of tweets from Aaron. But now, again, Twitter is the Me Too wars are raging on Twitter, and seemingly for this week nowhere else. But now it appears the Simple Life star has very subtly acknowledged Aaron's allegations involving her and Nick. According to the singer, Paris liked one of his tweets referencing the alleged abuse. Here's a tweet Paris seemingly liked. Listen, Paris Hilton knows what's going on. Trust me. She doesn't need to be dragged into anything because my truth is my truth, and I witnessed the abuse to Paris from my brother. I was there. And here's proof that she liked it, which you can see on the gram. After going through Paris's recently tweets, it appears she not only liked Aaron's post, but also a post written by Melissa Schumann. Reading, Nick Carter, you are disgusting, nasty, and repulsive. You don't intimidate us anymore. We never desired you, and you know we said no. Hashtag silence breaking. Ooh, I'm telling you, shots are being fired, man. This is no joke. Skeptics have argued Nick's accusers are simply seeking fame and money, but Paris needs neither of those. Why would she insert herself into this mess of a situation like Aaron was telling? Do you hear these rotten animals? Oh my goodness. Knock it off. I have to sit here with this. This is my only hope for well-behaved creatures. Enough. Back to Perez Hilton. At least Aaron was telling the truth, at least about her relationship. Girl, do you have something to add here? If so, it's now probably a good time to speak up. When do you think about this development, precious readers? Paris Hilton's not a joke, and she takes her likes and her reposts and her retweets very seriously. So the fact that she even, clearly she's been following along, and she finally decided to be like, yep. Because it's not like she was liking someone else's tweet about him doing something else. She was liking a tweet about him abusing her. So we'll see. But this whole situation with Aaron Carter is just, I want to say that it's bizarre. It's bizarre how it's played out, but the root of it, on the other hand, I'm not at all surprised that he's been molested 10 ways to Sunday and abused over and over again. Because that's what happens to kids in Hollywood. It's what happens to the kids around the world, but especially in Hollywood, especially when you have parents that don't care. Let's see here. What has he been tweeting? Just some gnarly stuff. Okay, so this is where this gets crazy. This is from 3 hours ago. Please advise, #SilenceBreaker, #MeToo. I stand by all the justice will be served on a cold platter. I'm the lion of my family, Kaya Jones, Paris Hilton, Melissa Schumann, Ashley Rep, and many more. I will protect you from these crazy BS, Backstreet Boys fans, period, end of story. Well, that's very sweet of him. I don't know that little Aaron Carter can do anything about Backstreet Boys fans, but honestly, it's none of their business. That I will say is one really strange thing that irks me about fans. When you have these people standing outside of courthouses, a la R. Kelly, a la Michael Jackson, and so many others. I'm just using, really surfacey examples here that have never met them before. They're just super fans out there proclaiming proclaiming the innocence of this accused person as they're heading into court, and just hoping for a sliver of attention from said person. It's like, you've never met these people before. You have no idea because you liked a piece of music. That's in the grand scheme of things, like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, that's not something to be losing any sleep over, first of all. And it's certainly not something that you should be involving yourself in, first of all. Or on the other, like, and you shouldn't be involving yourself about it. Also, like, if somebody is, trying to get their day in court and trying to seek justice, whether it be either party, you weren't there, you don't know them, you don't matter. Like, go to the other side of the police line. If you're so desperate to see a celebrity that you love, like, stop. Like, that's exactly why these people get away with this crap, is because there's morons out there that will stand on the other side of a police barricade and be like, oh my God, I love you, you're innocent, oh my God. Idiots, absolute idiots. And furthermore, I'll tell you a little story from New York. So when Big Time Movie was premiering, for whatever reason, Nickelodeon did the premiere in New York. So we all went to New York with One Direction. And Steven and myself and Tanya and Sierra's mom, Sierra's studio teacher, and Shallon and her husband. We all stayed at the London, I think. Yeah, we all stayed at the London in Midtown. And when all the boys from One Direction stayed there as well. And then they kept the Big Time Rush boys. They kept Kendall and Largos. Kogan and Jarlos, they kept them in another hotel that was closer to the Radio City Music Hall because they were playing that the next day with One Direction as an opener. And it shocked me to my core. Like, I get that, like, little girls, like, run and scream or whatever, and, like, that's fine, that's what boy bands are for. But when you go back to your hotel at 3 a.m. from, like, a dinner, from doing, adult activities, and there are 12-year-olds standing behind a police barricade outside of a hotel in Midtown Manhattan at 3 a.m., you have to wonder where their parents are and why these little girls are literally out on the street in New York City at 3 a.m. waiting for famous boys to re-enter their hotel. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you gotta keep a better handle on your children and other people's children too, because clearly the parents aren't doing it. So if you can help out with other people's kids, that'd be great. It's just really strange to me. I don't know why all these kids are loose, and then those are just regular kids, and then you add that to, kids that have a job, kids that have a career and make money, and have a lot of autonomy and, a driver and, and, all the stuff that they could, possibly want. So makes me nervous for these kids. Makes me very, very nervous. It does not surprise me at all that the Carter family is in such a molesting and assaulting disarray. Like, it's gross. With that being said, I told you in the show last week that I had my big producer conference next day, and I did, and it was super fun, but it was way more low key this year. Like, we had a ton of fun, and we did, like, the stuff that we normally do, but it was low key. Definitely low key. Bob Weinstein's old assistant wasn't there, so, like, no hot tea from them. Kind of disappointing, meh. But one thing we did talk about a lot, though, is, like, newer, younger people getting to replace these old predators that are getting ousted, because it's just not that hard to not commit a sex crime against an adult or a child. And how we all just kind of told stories about, like, people who have, championed us, or just something, something as basic as, like, that person, didn't necessarily do anything from a career, but you know what? They didn't take advantage of me. We've been friends for this amount of time. They didn't take advantage of me. They haven't tried anything, and that's really wonderful. And I think we have to have more of those conversations and really call those people out. Because as much as I, hammer away on, like, studio executives and network executives and, people high up the food chain. Make no mistake, there are some bomb people out there too, like, that are really, they're genuine people, and this is, they're passionate about this industry. They love music, they love film, they love TV, they love whatever else it is that we make around here. Like, they really do love that stuff. And if you gave them $1 billion and anything that they could ever want, they would just make more of what they're already making. And those are the people that have to keep, moving up the ranks if they haven't already, and, bringing people up with them, because we cannot keep having all of this going. My publicist is in town this weekend for a female filmmaker film festival. And her and I were talking on our way somewhere. I forget where we were going, but anyway, picked her up from the airport. We were on our way somewhere. And we were talking about how, like, if you're like so much as a background actor on Nickelodeon or Disney, you have to do a background check for every single episode that you're on, and you have to pass. But these networks will willfully rehire child predators. And it's very, very strange. It's absolutely bonkers that this would even be a thought, like, at all. And we were talking about, like, putting together some sort of system, like some sort of vetting system. And just like you carry the mark of your union, whether you're ASC or DGA or PGA or whatever, like, just when you carry those, just like you carry those initials, we need some sort of other stamp of approval that, these people have been fully vetted and they're safe. Not only are they safe to work with, but they're a safe bet for investors and for advertisers, because they're not going to have an all the money situation where they knowingly cast pedophile Kevin Spacey into a movie, and then the story built and built and built and built and built, and the public's like, WTF? Like, why is Kevin Spacey in this movie? This is crazy. So then they had to reshoot, like, everything with Christopher Plummer. Mark Wahlberg had to get bought out of his, movie that he had already moved on to. Michelle Williams, was it Michelle Williams? I think it was Michelle Williams. She had to go, she had to come back to work and do all those days, and that was a whole big brouhaha about how they got paid for that. And it's like, just don't hire the schmucks in the first place. Like, Christopher Plummer did a fine job. Nobody needs Kevin Spacey. Like, literally no one. Like, who cares? Nothing else give a, like, does anybody else have a care in the world for Kevin Spacey? I certainly don't. And that's just, like, pedophile stuff aside. Like, I don't care if he's in something or he isn't. Like, whoop-de-doo. It's not, I don't know. I'm completely unmoved by Kevin Spacey being cast in something. Be like, oh my God, I have to see this Kevin Spacey's in it. I literally don't care. So, that being said, I want you to think about, slide in my DMs, as you always do. Think about what kind of opinion that you have on putting together some sort of a vetting process, and not necessarily a union, but an organization that not only runs and maintains background checks on people, but also checks to make sure they haven't been, like, liking child porn on Facebook or Twitter or something, all that stuff too. Not just the surface background check stuff, but like the, looking into people and making sure they're not psychopaths. Because we have a severe abundance of those around here. Anyway, I will see you all next week on another wild episode of No Filter Friday. And again, think about what you think about that kind of thing. Slide in my DMs, let me know, or comment on the video. You can tell me here too. And I will see you all next week. Check out other shows on Public House Media. Like, I think this week was the last week for Crowned and Dangerous, so give those ladies a send off. And then C. Jane Sell is up. And who else? Probably Choose to Rise. All of those wonderful, like, uplifting shows. And I will see you all next week.